as its lifeblood and
Thank
not its
you.
armor.
My thing is the game is so simple I think anyone over the age of 12 should be able to attain a minimum 50% W or if they have normal brain function. I physically can't wrap my head around someone playing for fun and winning when 45% losing isn't fun.
Some people are wired up to not win. Like, I am wired up to win. I don't think that makes me better than somebody who isn't. You know, some people, like, just winning matters, and some people, it literally doesn't. I know it's a real hard thing for you to figure out, and it's really hard for me. For somebody who is, like, hardwired to try and be really competitive and try to win in every scenario, it's really hard for me to understand players who are a lot more casual. Sounds like an elitist asshole to me. Yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, you know what? My nature, I guess, is that I'm an elitist asshole. I'm sorry, it's how I, like, grew up. I had a lot of pressure on me from, like, my parents and my siblings and to perform and whatnot. But it's definitely something that I acknowledge, and I've tried very hard to look at the other side as well. And so, finessing. So, finessing, I totally understand how you feel. And I would just really challenge you to try and consider that some people, like, winning isn't what matters. It's actually about just playing, you know? It's about just being part of either a team. For some people, they just don't actually... I'm probably going to die here, by the way. I'm not playing very well. But at least I'm talking about some real shit. For some people, it's literally just about having something so that they don't have to think about their life. And some people, it's not about winning to escape from life failures. For some people, it's just about the fact that you get to play, like, a multiplayer game with some random people on the internet. Some people probably just like driving around their vehicles and, like, making the occasional shot work. Some people probably like the fact that they get to drive around in a free game that they've paid no money for, and occasionally, like, you know, things go burr. Some people collect the tanks because they just look cool in their garage, and they probably are quite happy about the fact that they have things that they can collect in their garage, you know? Lots of people play the game for lots of different reasons.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit.
And there isn't one individual way to play the game that's better than everybody else's, you know? Everybody plays the game for a variety of different reasons. Nobody's individual way of playing the game is better than anyone else's. You know? Some people just don't care if they win. Some people... And that's fine. Genuinely as well, throughout my life, like I love my dad a lot, but honestly, like, God, he's an absolute dick when it comes to, like, playing games with him as well. Sometimes, honestly, like, when we were growing up, okay, he'd play, like, card games or like anything, or like table tennis, and he would absolutely utterly play to, like, completely win. Do you know what I mean? Even with like kids. So if we were playing table tennis, he wouldn't play casual. You know what I mean? Even with kids. It's like one of the only things that it's not good about him. Apart from that, he's like the nicest guy. But some reason, I think it was his father as well. Okay, so I think... Hold on, I'm going to mute that because I'm on a roll. I will answer that in a second. Thank you. Sorry for muting it. I feel like I have to finish this train of thought. So I honestly think, like, his father as well would have who was a bit of a bully. My granddad, he wasn't, like, the nicest of men, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he wasn't the nicest of men. I mean, he was a great man from, like, a war perspective, you know. But I honestly think that probably being a prisoner of war and you know, being part of the RAF and everything during World War II probably like messed him up a little bit, you know. So I'm not trying to give him like an excuse, but you know what I mean. I don't think my grandfather, he was a bit of a bully, to be honest with you, in places, and I think it probably like made my father probably affected my dad playing games, you know, as you kind of as growing up. And then I think that my dad probably just thought that that's the way it is, right? And I grew up in like the 80s, right? Well, 80s and 90s. So from that perspective, I don't like blame my dad. But if there's one thing that I've learned, is that quite often like really competitive people need to learn to just be, I don't know, but almost like in a way, at first, if you kind of just realize that you're being competitive about the situation and realize that it's like an unhealthy thing and that it actually makes it so that people just don't enjoy either being like around you or playing with you. Because that's exactly what happened with me and my father. I actually ended up really not enjoying playing games with him because he would try either too hard, you know, and I'm just like a kid. So it's like... So eventually, all right, when I grew up, and you could argue that he made me very good at like playing table tennis, for example. But when I grew up and then I started to be able to like win at golf or win at table tennis, and I'd absolutely like smash him, right? Once you have that physicality as well, then of course, like I took at first like great pleasure in taking games off him, like, you know, like great pleasure in taking games off him when we were just playing like table tennis or something stupid like that, something very, very relaxed, you know.
Броня не пробита. Пробитие подтверждаю.
Oh, I ammo-racked him. And then the thing that sucked for my father, so I'm trying to explain as something quite interesting here, at least in my opinion. The thing that must have sucked for my father is then after I beat him, you know, it wasn't like I ever went easy on him, okay? So I was like a kid, all right? And I was like a 13-year-old kid, and I just figured out, oh, I can finally beat my dad at like golf or tennis or something, or table tennis or whatever, right? And so do you think I went easy on him? Hell no. Hell no. I took great pleasure in beating his ass repeatedly, and then there was this like turning point where it was like a transition where it went. Oh, I love fucking up chieftains. Sorry for my language. But there was like this passing of the guard where eventually it changed, so he never beat me again. And I don't think he's ever beaten me since I was like 13 at like table tennis. You know what I mean? And that's really sad. It's really sad because like... it's gone like full circle to a point where... you know, it's probably not very fun to just play games with him. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's tough. So I think it's sad that it was like that. And so if there's one thing that I want to be able to oh damn. If there's one thing I want to change with my
Броня не пробита.
oh Jesus Christ. I think if there's one thing that I want to either change with my kids or something that I need to learn as a person to get better at, or something that I've learned, it's to play better with others, you know. And when I have kids, it won't be about trying to like win or whatever, you know. It's just going to be about like having some fun and playing some games.
Есть пробитие. Пробитие.
This could be awkward for you. Oh, he's got a friend.
Машина уничтожена.
Really happy with how how I managed to get through that game, irrelevant of talking about, I guess, childhood trauma. I wouldn't really call it trauma, but you know what I mean. No, but it just really hit home, finessing. You know, it really hit home that for somebody who kind of grew up in a competitive environment and I've had to learn how to placate that competitive nature, because there's a right time to be competitive, right? There's a right time to be competitive, and there's an ugly time to be competitive. You know? There's a right time to be competitive, and there's an ugly time to be competitive. Would you say that you are less competitive now than 5 years ago? Well, I'm not at playing World of Tanks. I'm the best World of Tanks player I've ever been. But should we say competitive from a sense of like pure competitive nature? Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely more mellow now, for sure. God, as you get older, that's the one good thing about getting older, is that you realize so many things about when you were a kid. You realize so many things about why you feel the way that you do. And you realize so many things about just life in general, right? As you get older, there's hardly anything good about getting older. The one damn good thing about getting older is you realize that you've had these emotions before. There's a reason for why you feel the way that you do, and you get better at realizing why these waves of emotions come in the way that they do, and you learn how to ride them better. Mega Reese says, well, this is depressing. I think that's a pathetic comment. Sorry, dude, I'm going to call you out on that. I'm actually kind of a little bit. I think that's a pathetic comment. If you think this is depressing, whatever, dude. I don't think it's depressing. I'm sorry if I open up to you and it's depressing in that kind of a way. Imagine that. You open up to someone and they say, well, this is depressing. Like, come on, dude. Screw you. With all due respect. Like, I don't know, man. Whatever. If it's depressing, well, it's depressing. Whatever, dude. Yeah, so I'm sorry if it was too real for you. Anyway, I was trying to help that person who I was trying to help finessing to try and deal with the fact that they can't put themselves into somebody's mentality who doesn't really care so much about winning, okay? So, yeah. That's from a perspective of someone who is very incredibly competitive through upbringing and nature, who is trying to, like, be accommodating to everyone, right? Unfortunately, we're on a 3-game loss streak now, but at least I'm not in chat acting like this, you know? Look at these guys acting like dicks for no reason. Anyway, Noah, sorry that I muted you. Sorry, Noah, I'm sorry that I muted you. Noah, thank you for the £5 tip. Noah said, I'm at the top of my job as a first responder. I don't have time to play World of Tanks, but I sometimes do just to play World War II tanks. I don't care about 12-year-old kids and their win rate. I play for fun. See that? Exactly. And Noah, you're one of the people that people like my like quickie baby nature and people like Finessa need to always try and take into account, you know? So thank you Noah for the £5 tip, and thank you for sharing. And it's very important to realize that you should never act in the way that, for example, the T30s did in chat, where they're calling like the Borsigs, tomatoes like this, tomatoes like that. By the way, well played to this IS-32. Nice win there, man. Great win for you guys. Well done. I didn't realize that this person was in a platoon with them. I should have seen that. I should have realized they were going to sneak up. I could have aimed better this game, But you know what? I'm pretty damn happy the fact that I got a chieftain wrecked. I did 1,200 damage to him and I messed up his ammo rack. You get absolutely dumped, dude. You're lucky that your team carried you. Look at that. 46% Scrub Lord in his tier 9 carrying this 55% win rate player in his chieftain, right? I probably could have aimed a little bit better there, but I had fun anyway. It was a good game. And I talked about some things that I think are more important than winning, right? Hopefully.